Welcome back to I Did This Instead of Killing Myself, stand-up comedy podcast based in Greenville, South Carolina. It's the week of May 2nd, 2022. I got my sunglasses out because this week I'm on vacation. By the time anybody who's watching this sees this, I will be in Key West, Florida. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Florida makes me happy. So yeah, that's going to be good. I love Florida. I think, Florida gets a really bad rap. But any kid who grew up in the Midwest loves Florida because Florida means we get to drive down in the minivan for spring break and go to Disney World or go to, I don't know, whatever place in Florida. Like everybody would vacation there, and that was like heaven because the Midwest winters were so freaking awful. So that's my association with Florida. Key West should be good. I don't know if I'm going to try and do stand-up down there or not, but I hope you guys have a chance to relax this weekend or had a chance to relax this weekend. And I'll be back this Thursday at Comedy Zone. But first couple of days I'll be off. So anyway, we do have a great week though, and we do have a great guest today, Lane Wilson. I really like our guest today. A couple of reasons. Lane's a woman. We haven't had a lot of ladies on, so we're up in the quota of females on the podcast, which is great. And also, she is 60 years old. Young. 60 years young. And I don't want to date her. She did actually say her age during the interview. So I really like Lane. I mean, we only hung out a few times, but she's always been so gracious, so warm and supportive and kind. And I really like her. This is going to be, I don't know if this sounds weird, but I like her because she's like a normal, well-adjusted adult. Like, and, you know, she's older, but she started stand-up in 2019. But she just, like, went for it. Like, you don't have to go into stand-up thinking it's going to, you could do it just because you love comedy and you love to make people laugh and you just want to do it. You don't have to go into it thinking, oh, I'm going to make this, like, a career or, you know, have any particular goal in mind. And it's never too late to start. So like if you've ever thought about doing an open mic or doesn't matter how old you are. I mean, we had, David Zasloff on earlier, last, year, and I don't know how old he is. I think he's like 77 or something, and great shape, still killing. And he still does gigs, paid, whatever. So anyway, inspiration for whoever, and she's just so sweet and has a lot of interesting stories. So I really enjoyed our interview today. Lane came of age in the 70s in the disco era, so she was kind of a disco gal. We talked about that. She had this great story about when she saw Bill Hicks for the first time in 1983 when he was opening for Jay Leno. And I really enjoyed that story. And we just talked about comedy, her experience in stand-up, and just kind of shot the shit for about an hour. So I really had a good time in this interview. I think you'll enjoy it. It's only about an hour long, so hope that helps you ease into your Monday. Before we get into the interview, though, here's what's going on this week in local comedy. The week of May 2nd, 2022. Our open mics beginning here in Greenville, beginning with Coffee Underground tonight. That's at 7 o'clock, hosted by No Expectations Comedy, Craig Holcomb, Travis Thubband. Get there at 6:15 to sign up. On Tuesday, we have Art Bar in Columbia, hosted by Patrick Fowler. That starts at about 9 o'clock. DM Patrick to sign up. Also on Tuesday, we have the Auditorium in Asheville, hosted by James Harrod. That show starts at 9. On Wednesday, we have the Radio Room in here in Greenville, hosted by Adam Schulte. That starts at 8 o'clock. Message Adam to get on the list. Also on Wednesday in Asheville, we have the Disclaimer Music Hall. That's an 8 o'clock show. And DM Carrie Goff is a decent point of contact for that one. On Thursday, we have the Jokes Out Loud comedy show at the Comedy Zone. That's hosted by Brandon Rainwater. Show starts at 8 o'clock, $10 cover to get in. Sign up for that is at 5:00 on Sundays at the Jokes Out Loud Facebook page. This weekend, our celebrity comedian is Mario Torre. He's toured with Kevin Hart. He's going to be at the Comedy Zone. There's 3 shows this weekend. 1 on Friday, May 6th at 8:00, and 2 on Saturday, May 7th at 6 and 9. Tickets available at greenvillecomedyzone.com. That's it for local comedy. I hope you guys have a great week, and I hope you guys enjoy my interview with Lane. Here it is.
This is not working.
It's not working?
It's not working. So is that working now?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think
look at
we're
it now.
good.
In fact, yeah.
Lane Wilson.
Yeah.
Welcome to my place.
Thank you. And thank you for letting me be here. I reached out to you.
No, don't say that on the beginning.
No. I'm going to say I reached out to you because a lot of new comics listen to your podcast, and I want to be that story about what not to do. And you were there, so you saw what not to do.
What not to do? What do you mean?
Well, at Comedy Zone a couple weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
And we'll just start there, and then we can unpack it after that.
So what happened at Comedy Zone a couple weeks ago?
You weren't there?
I was there, but I don't necessarily. You're talking about your set?
Yeah. Yes. So, yeah, what else would I be talking about?
I don't know. Could be something that happened on your way to the bathroom, or like something happened before or after.
I
the
wish
show.
it had happened on the way to the bathroom and not on stage.
I didn't watch the whole set. I don't think. I think I was maybe in the back or doing something else.
I was.
So refresh.
I'll refresh your memory. It was. I was doing my set. It was 4.5 minutes in, and I called a couple of audience members out on the front row who had been chatting all through my set.
Sons of bitches.
All through.
As you should.
No.
Call them out.
No, this
shit on them.
No, because here's what happened. If you didn't see it, man, you missed it. They were sitting on the front row, and these 2 young women, and they'd been talking through everybody's set. Mm-hmm. I think they were talking through your set. I could just hear the chatter, and something happened, and I was in a good mood. I wasn't tired. I wasn't hungry. I was, everything, timing was good, and I just stopped and I said, "Excuse me, but am I interrupting you?"
Perfect.
No.
That is not bad.
No, because I'm here to tell you that no matter how good it feels in your head, it'll never feel that good afterward, because as soon as I did, everything got very quiet. And, the voice in my head is saying, abort, but you've got 30 seconds left. And so I don't know where to go. I lost my place.
In your set?
In my set, of course. And so I'm continuing to kind of berate them and thinking, how am I going to get out of this? So why I wanted to talk to you about this today was the advice is, okay, like you just said, do it. Yeah, bitches, they needed it. Yeah, they just needed to, that slap across the face. But if you don't have an end game, if you don't have a way out of it, it is terrible.
Why? Because the audience turns on you, right?
The audience turns on
you're
you.
Being too mean.
Yes. And they didn't really turn. They just said nothing. There was sort of shocked responses. It was shocked silence is the best way to put it. And so here was the other thing that happened too, I felt, is that I just sort of took the buzz out of the room for the rest of the comics. And that's not fair. That's not fair to them. And it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good.
I think you're being too hard on yourself.
I don't know. No, all I have to do, it.
Man, this is like weighing on you.
Oh yeah, it's been living in my head for 2 weeks.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
and that's
gosh.
why I thought, well, that's not, because there were a lot of new comics in the room. Mm-hmm. Clearly, I'm not a young comic, but I still consider myself a new comic.
Yeah.
Because I started January of 2019.
Yeah.
And with the
3 years?
3 years, yeah. Mm-hmm. And with the pandemic, going on, I haven't really had that much stage time.
Sure.
So there are the comics there that we can learn from who deal with it. Tom Emmons is the best as far as being able to handle.
You know, Tom Emmons, he thinks the podcast is stupid. He didn't want to come on.
Tom, I'm one of your biggest fans.
He doesn't listen to this.
Oh, well,
if anybody listens to this,
then we can talk about him.
Yeah, Tom sucks, bro. I'm just kidding. No, Tom's great. And he is, I think, I forget what his tenure is in stand-up. I think it's probably like 10 plus years.
Yeah, I know. So we got to think about things like that. I mean, I have to think about things like
Tom, by the way, is mean to audience members sometimes. If they're out of line, Tom will go hard on them.
Well, I saw that once.
Yeah?
What did he do? What did he do? Well, he a couple years ago, and he just started shouting at this table that was, and first of all, why would somebody pay $10 a head to come in and talk through a comedy set?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times they just don't know what they're doing.
Apparently, yeah.
Or they can't follow directions because the host normally at the beginning says, don't do that. But
yeah, but people, if they come in late, and this particular night, people did come in late for Tom, and he yelled at them and said, "Hey, it's really loud over there." But it was a weird night.
Shut up.
Yeah. But he could do that. He could do that.
Yeah.
But
it's a skill. It's strange.
It is
That's
a skill.
Why I think the stage job's so important, because you can't simulate those experiences. You just have to be up there enough times till a jerk yells out, and then you try it one way and it doesn't work, and then you try it a different way and it does work. But
unfortunately, comedy is a learning experience.
Yeah.
And performance is a learning experience.
Yeah. It's almost like you are your experience.
Yeah.
You are the same thing.
Yeah.
As how much time you've done.
Yeah. Well, and especially if you're, I am that subculture of people who like to fix things.
Yeah.
And it, I will yell at the people in the Walmart parking lot that haven't put their carts back.
Oh, you will?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. And I'm running after them and doing, but I can
what is it? Is that like type A perfectionist type personality?
No, it's bossy. It's
bossy?
It's just full on bossy. Just, it's a subculture.
Are you freaking out seeing my apartment and how messy it is?
No, that does not bother me.
Is there any part of you that's like, oh my gosh.
No, that's
gotta get my life together.
Because this is not hurting anybody. This is not hurting anybody. Leaving your card out. Oh, I feel no pain. No, there's no pain.
No.
Leaving a card out, and I just want to say, oh, did you just wear your fat ass out in Walmart and you can't walk it back to
the cart corral or whatever it is?
Yeah, but I don't want to be the cart cop, but I have heard about that.
Do you think that's a measure of somebody's moral compass if they don't return a cart? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And talking through somebody's set is a measure
Dude,
of
I agree.
Moral
they should
compass.
add these to the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're not returning your car, because that's definitely a Bible gray area, but
gray.
Yeah, there's no grocery carts.
Let me find a scripture
mentioned
here
in the
that's talking about
thou
carts.
shalt return your Walmart
I don't
cart.
know, but this was written like 6,000
Thou shalt
years
not
ago,
interrupt.
so.
Do you think Jesus ever had any hecklers when he was giving his sermons? Like people. You think?
Oh hell yeah! Didn't you see him?
Yeah,
he was up on this cross.
And do you think he ever got sick of like doing miracles for people? Like, oh my god, another blind guy. Jeez.
Yeah. Show us something different. Yeah.
Give me something fun to cure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're gonna be hit by lightning here any second now. So yes.
Oh gosh, you don't know the awful things.
So it's yes. I think what she said about moral is where I was standing.
Moral, yeah. I think that's inconsiderate to not return the cart.
Yeah, well, and going back to these two gals, and so it as a new comic, learn to take it. Has that ever happened to you?
Yes.
And what did you do?
So this is, I've had a few like heckler experiences. One lady, this was at a bar show. She was incredibly drunk. I think I might have told this once before, but screw it, I'll tell it again. So, she was kind of being rowdy and talkative and like responding to what I was saying, even though it's not rhetorical.
Right.
Mm-hmm. This woman kind of got me. Okay. So I have this thing where okay, wait. First of all, she stepped on a punchline. So I said something. I'm not even going to do the joke, but I was about to say the punchline, and then she guessed it wrong, and then just interrupted the joke.
Yeah.
So I got mad. So then the next thing I do is I do like a pickup line to an audience member. It's kind of like this little. I don't know if you've seen me do that before. So as a part of this pickup, I chose her. I don't know why I didn't choose a different audience member to do the pickup line, but I chose her. I went up to her, and part of the thing is I say, I'm a comedian. And then she said, but you're not funny.
Oh.
Which cuts deep no matter what.
Yeah,
I was like, this bitch. I want to kill this bitch.
You get the beer bottle
This fat, drunk bitch.
Shanker. All Spartanburg style. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fat drunk bitch. The worst kind
I should have said that.
Of bitch.
I should have said that. Oh my gosh. Okay, see, this is so what? And then she said, but I bet you could make me laugh in bed or something. I was like, oh my gosh, how does this chick have these one-liners?
Those are pretty good.
I know. And the audience laughed at it. And I was like sitting there, and then I said, there's no amount of beers in the entire world that could get me in bed with you, but
touche.
But I didn't really say it that gracefully. So I kind of thought up how to say it the right way after, and I kind of said that, but it wasn't enough. And then once you lose to a drunk, overweight chick from Wisconsin heckling you, there's no recovering from that set. I basically had 7 more minutes to suffer through of that set. And at that point I was, yeah. Sam Morrill said something about bombing or, heckles and stuff. If it doesn't go your way, once the audience pities you, it's over. The audience cannot pity you. You always have to be in control and in command of what you're doing, what's going on, and other materials. So, dude, I was sunk, and that was definitely a humbling experience. So,
yeah,
long answer / story to your question, but and not exactly the same because this one was kind of hostile. Very savvy with the drunk comebacks.
Damn, that wasn't her first time.
No,
I will just bet you that was not her first drunk heckle.
I should have said.
In fact, she probably stole that from somebody else. She saw somebody else do it and she stole it. So,
thank you, Lane.
That just makes
helps me survive.
That just makes it worse.
It does.
Yes,
because
there's nothing worse than a heckler stealing a heckle. Almost as worse as stealing someone's joke.
Yes, joke stealing.
Yeah,
not good.
Yeah. But as I said, I'm obviously not a young comic, but I've been going to comedy at small clubs forever. Yeah. And I remember in Austin, Texas, there was a place, if you don't mind me talking about this.
Go ahead. Okay. Yeah.
Place called.
So you're from Austin, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the whole hook 'em, fire up.
Yeah. How long ago did you move here?
16 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. So you were in Austin early 2000s.
My husband and I were working at the University of Texas, and then he got a job at Clemson, and we moved.
What were you doing at University of Texas?
I was administration.
Okay.
Yes. And
what were you doing in administration?
He was professor, and I did. I worked in the office that handles grants and contracts.
Okay.
So I was the irritating bureaucratic middleman that kept people like my husband away from their research dollars. So, yeah, but he married me anyway.
That's amazing. No, you are a great face for bureaucratic administration because you're very sweet. I hate bureaucracies.
I do now.
I hate the DMV. I hate any sort of paperwork, insurance documents, taxes. God, I got to do my taxes.
Yeah.
But you are a very nice face for having to being in administration though.
And you learn to be nice.
Yeah.
You do learn to be nice because we do have to deal with bureaucracy ourselves. So I became a nice person there. So we moved here, but in Austin. So, graduated from high school there, went to the university. I always say I went to the university for lunch because college was just too hard for me.
Wait, what does that mean?
College was too hard. I went to UT for a semester and a half.
Okay. So you dropped out after
I dropped out.
Okay.
Yeah. It was disco.
Disco?
Oh, yeah. Think about it.
Did you like disco?
Everything I am today, I owe to disco.
Really?
And I have this very
Dance.
very deep feeling, and it's controversial.
Hit us with it.
That Saturday Night Fever killed everything that was good and funky about disco.
What? Why? How?
Because it brought this very slow, monotonous beat to what had been very funky before that. We're talking Parliament, George Clinton, Kool and the Gang. I can't, just off the top of my head, because I was not prepared to talk about disco today.
No, I don't know. No, talk about whatever.
Let me Google it.
Yeah.
So I was, all the white people, and let's just say it, all the white people trying to look like
Black people?
John Travolta.
Oh, John Travolta.
Yeah.
Never mind. I got that
And
wrong.
it was like, okay. But anyway, so I started going
So disco made you drop out?
because
You
I
were
love to
partying?
dance. I loved to dance.
Do you ever do roller disco back then?
They did.
Okay.
I wasn't about to.
Yeah. Well, was that a common thing though?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw people doing it and admired it all the same.
Yeah.
So, but then this, and there had been, okay, if we're going down this rabbit hole, there had been the Chippendale Dancers.
Yeah.
And they opened a club in Austin called La Bear.
Okay.
And I'm 20.
This is like an adult gentleman's club.
Yeah, well, it's
Except
it's gentlemen stripping for chicks.
Yeah.
And I went, one of the funniest things is we were at La Bear and at a bachelorette party.
Okay.
And I came in late. And I'm coming in and I'm looking for my party, and there's, of course, they're around the stage because they're the bachelorette. She's the bachelorette.
Right.
And I'm talking and I'm about to sit down, and I hear, "Hi, Lane," and I look up and I knew the dancer. His name was Tim.
The dancer flagged you down?
Yeah, the dancer. Yeah, he was like, "Hi, Lane." I'm like, "Oh, hi."
Was he naked?
Almost. And, just to be square, I had never seen him naked. He was just a friend. He was a buddy. Good looking. I will say that. Man, very pretty. And so I was like, "Oh, yeah, Tim." And he went by the stage name of Special K because all we had to do was just pinch an inch.
Oh, my God.
That was my guy. That was my buddy. And the guy that danced after him, though, was known as Sergio, the Flexin' Texan. Okay, points.
Sergio, was he Hispanic?
Yes, he was. Yeah. But I was very proud to know Timmy, because he was the most popular dancer there. And I didn't have to pay $1 to kiss him.
Oh, my God.
I got out of there free. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Lane, this is amazing.
I know. Yeah, I'm telling you. So
you were in college at this point, or college age?
I was out. I had already dropped out.
But you dropped out, but you were
point.
still like early 20s.
Yeah, early 20s. And then fast forward, this type of entertainment isn't as popular anymore. So La Bear became Comedy Workshop. And
that comedy, so it was a strip club, and then it
turned into, and I was like, yeah, I've been here.
Wow. Okay. So it turned into like a normal comedy club.
Yeah.
Did they have open mic nights there?
They did.
Did you ever consider?
I did consider, but I wasn't funny. And
bullcrap.
No. You understand too, you have to come up with 5 minutes, and that doesn't seem like much, but when you're trying to,
it's a lot.
Yeah, when you're trying to be new and you're new at it. So I just decided, well, I'll become a comic historian and just understand comedy too. So there was there's a comic named Bill Hicks.
I know Bill Hicks. Of him.
I have seen Bill Hicks. So I was there in 1983. See, this is a story I love telling. It's like, yeah, I was there. Bill Hicks, me, in the back drinking, doing lines.
What?
That was us.
What voice are you doing? Is this you?
No, I didn't do any of that.
Oh, okay.
But that's not to say that but I sound like that person.
That person.
I sound like that person is like, I was here when Bill Hicks
days.
first came out.
Back in my day.
Back in my day. But I was there when Bill Hicks first came out. And he opened for Jay Leno.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And he was funnier than Jay Leno.
Really?
And there will be a lot of people who say, well, everybody is funnier than Jay Leno. But this was kind of in Jay Leno's.
Jay Leno.
Yeah, this was
I've never seen his act because
this was in a small club.
Yeah.
Think about it. It was in a small club in 1983. But Bill Hicks opened for him, and I was hooked on comedy clubs at that point. Yeah. And so every time he'd be in Austin, I would see his show, and I'm talking about Bill Hicks now, sometimes twice while he was there. And he would tell a joke, and it would be hilarious. And then I'd go back on Sunday, and he would tell the same joke, but he'd have a different punchline to it. And it would be just as hilarious.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
It was,
yeah, it's kind of cool. You saw him evolving his act even in the course of a weekend.
He would change it. He would change it. He was that good. Yeah. And he was also kind of a train wreck.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I saw some of the times where he would have his screaming fits up on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those weren't always part of the act. Those were sometimes like breakdowns.
No, those were breakdowns. But no one knew how to respond to it.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah.
Wait, so did anybody in the audience laugh when he had those screaming fits?
Well, we'd all start laughing because we thought this was him just
part of the
show. And then, but then we'd be asked to leave. The show would be over. Yeah. And we'd be asked to leave.
In the midst of those screaming?
Well, at this time, he was the headliner.
Right.
So there's nobody after him.
Right.
You've got these, the openers.
So did he scream and leave, or was he screaming and people were leaving as
he was
people
kind
were
of
leaving as he was continuously
at audience members, or he would get off the stage and you'd hear him screaming in the background. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Man, that's something.
I only saw that once.
That's something to look out for.
Yeah, but I went back. You
could go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
If you stand up long enough, you could just.
It could happen to us, David.
Get a screw loose. Yeah. I think it's already happened.
Well, hence the name of your program.
Yes. Yes. Is it off-putting?
No. Because I totally understand.
It can be. I mean.
Well, I totally understand it, and I think you do too.
Well, I think my family had been concerned when it first came out.
And they saw that.
They were like, well, it's a dark name. It's supposed to be darkly funny, but.
And whenever anybody talks to you about it, well, I remember the first time talking to Jazz Gill, and I had bombed. And it was like the third time I had been up on stage, and she was talking to me about it. And
what'd she say?
Well, she was just, and there's a fellow named Kenneth Hughes. Have you had the opportunity to meet Kenneth?
I know that name. Why do I know?
He did 2020 productions.
Okay.
Before the pandemic.
Okay. I don't think I know him.
Okay. So we were outside, and it had been a terrible night. And Kenneth said, you don't want to blame the audience, but sometimes it's the audience.
Yeah.
And they were saying, this is basically, I think, what happened to you and what was happening to everybody else. And then Jazz said, yeah, I keep coming back because it's cheaper than therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, well, yeah, I know. And I hadn't put that in perspective.
Yeah.
But the reason, so your next question to me should be, Lane, you're 60 years old. What on earth made you get up on stage?
I would ask you that, except I think I know. I mean, well, okay, yeah.
Okay,
I want to ask you,
okay.
What,
let's see if you guess it. Let's see if you guessed it right.
Oh well, I mean, I think it'd be similar to the reason I do it. Is it's there's no better feeling than getting a laugh.
Mm-hmm. There is that,
and it makes you feel alive. I don't think I was an athlete growing up, and I tell my friends who played sports, like, this is what it's like if they want to know. It's like the butterflies you get before game day when you're about to go out and perform this thing you've practiced or compete on a field. you don't know what's going to happen. So there's
Right.
this uncertainty, this adrenaline. And then you could still, even with all the preparation, you could still lose. Like, it's really, as an adult, it's really hard to simulate that excitement. There's no other thing that I can really think of. Public speaking, most people are horrified of. So,
And you
Yeah,
don't want to
so
think that
it's-
you hit your glory days when you were 17 years old.
yeah.
And if there's a way to recreate it naturally,
Mhm.
then why not?
Yeah.
So that's
That's maybe
probably
a reason.
that is a reason.
I feel like I didn't hit it on the head, though. So tell me.
Well, it was 2018, and my husband had broken his foot.
Okay.
That's okay. That's all right. It wasn't me who broke the foot. It was him.
Uh-huh.
But his mother had to go from independent living to assisted living, and he couldn't help. And it was in the
Okay.
same building. You know, it went from here to there.
Uh-huh.
And you'd think that would be very easy. But she is a hoarder. And even in a 1-bedroom apartment, she's a hoarder. And oh God, you know, I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. She's mean. She's just this mean person.
Your mother-in-law?
Yes, yes. She's mean to my husband, and I don't like it that she's mean. Just mean, nasty person. And so it was up to me, not to move the furniture, obviously, but to pack her up.
To pack her up?
Yes, she was not willing. I mean, she was not capable of helping at this
Okay.
point. So, and she couldn't take all this stuff downstairs. And so there was this day where I was trying to wrestle 10 pairs of white elastic waist slacks
Uh-huh.
out of her arms. And she's surprisingly strong for an 87-year-old woman at that
Right,
time.
right.
And it was, she just didn't understand. And I hated that I was the one that had to deal with it.
Uh-huh.
And and I started feeling like I was in a dark place. Okay. I'm going to admit it. You know, I have never been depressed before, and I didn't know how it felt. And I thought, I think this is how it feels.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so I'm thinking situational.
So why do you think you felt that bad? Because you were mad at her?
I was mad at her.
And it wasn't really...
Oh, and here's the other reason, which makes
she's
this,
old.
This is why I'm going to go to hell. Because a year before, my mother had died.
Mhm.
And my mother was sainted and wonderful.
Okay.
And so every day I would look at my mother-in-law and it'd be like, why wasn't it you?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of where I was. So that's not the healthiest.
That's honest, though.
It is, yeah. And understanding, recognizing too, getting into kind of a dark place. So what do? I've never been here before. I would come home and I would handwrite funny stories that had either happened with her that day, if anything did funny happen, or I'd think about something that happened in my ill-spent youth in my 20s when I was dancing disco, when I should have been going to school, and things like that. But
it was the anger, frustration, and kind of like darkness of being mad at your mother-in-law.
Yes.
That got these stories out of you.
Yeah. I felt like I had to do it. So
that's great. That's great.
Well, so I wouldn't get any darker than I already was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, are you familiar with like Carl Jungian psychology?
No, hell no. Because I've never felt this way before.
Well, this is more, I don't know if this is specific to just male development or if there's an element of this with women as well. But part of what Carl Jung talks about is the integration of the shadow, which is the dark parts of your personality, the dark, vengeful, kind of dangerous part of yourself that exists. If you're an agreeable person, you tend to suppress that. You tend to shy away from it. And that's the person that's always nice, always pleasant, always this, always that. They can be a pushover. People kind of shove them around. And then later they come to work and blow up in mass shootings and all that.
Yeah.
Not literally that, but yeah, they can blow up because they haven't integrated that dark part of themselves, and they're not really a good person, because a good person is not harmless. A good person is somebody who has the capacity for harm but doesn't use it, like somebody who has a sword but doesn't use it. That's like the noble, wise king. You want to be like that. You don't want to be the
king that beheads everybody.
Yeah, well, that's a tyrant. And by the same token, you don't want to be just like a little peasant in the kingdom that's powerless and nice to everybody, because screw that guy. Yeah. He's useless. So like everybody has those bad thoughts, and the shadow is part of that. It's like the integration of those dark thoughts. So like your horrible thoughts about your mother-in-law, like I think that's a good thing to like express them and find a way to honestly express them through jokes or whatever you did.
And I did, and guess what?
What happened?
So you've seen some of my sets, and I do have like a whole series of jokes about where I volunteer at an assisted living facility. Yeah. Well, all the jokes about the mean old ladies, it's just one.
Yeah.
But I make it out to be these 10
It's just one, and it's about your mother-in-law?
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
And
I think those are funny because like those are thoughts that everybody thinks, but it's not appropriate to say. And then when you come out and say it, everybody's like, "Oh, finally somebody said it." Like, I hate my mother-in-law too.
Yeah, and that's such a trite joke too. It's like, oh, my mother-in-law. But so she's given me these jokes, and
so her life was not a waste. Or not a waste.
Whatever benefits me, right? How selfish and narcissistic is that? Oh, gosh.
I learned that her life is not a waste because it gave me jokes.
Well, my husband has been to my shows where I'm telling these jokes, and he knows it's about her.
Does he get offended?
No, because she's mean to him. She was mean to him. You know, even as a little kid, she was mean to him. So it's like, yeah, if you're getting some good laughs out of it, let's go with it. So, so that was, I would say that was in September of 2018.
Okay.
And then, so I just kept thinking, these are funny jokes. Yeah. These are funny stories. They're making me laugh. Yeah. And I kind of was putting some jokes together. And when you're driving in the car and a joke hits you, that happens. Yeah. And that's, so it's like, okay, you got to remember that. You got to remember that one. And
take out your phone and write it down. While driving. I mean, I do that.
I'll write it down when I get home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should wait till I get home.
Yeah.
Tempting fate.
Yeah. I know. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It was September to January, right? When you were.
And I did my first stand-up I did my first stand-up at my Bible study Christmas party.
Oh, cool.
Because we were sitting around, and I'm Lutheran, so we drink a lot. And maybe not as much as Catholics, but we drink a lot, you know. And
isn't that funny that Catholics drink?
Yeah. Well, you know, water into wine, all that.
I guess. Yeah, I mean, you get one verse in there, and that loophole, you just exploit the shit out of that.
Looking for loopholes. Yeah.
I'm always.
Yeah. So there it is. So we were, alcohol was involved, and one of the gals said, well, okay, what are you guys looking forward to doing in 2019? And I said, I'm thinking about doing some stand-up.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And one of my buddies said, well, okay, we got any jokes? And so I immediately stand up and start telling jokes.
Was that the wine that made you stand up?
That was the wine that made me.
I never would have. Oh, gosh. I would have been so horrified in the moment.
Oh, at a Bible study?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you got to understand.
We're just among friends, and it's not even a comedy.
Well, no, these were friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were friends.
So I'm so afraid of what even my friends would think.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like to invite friends to shows even necessarily.
Wow.
Now I'm getting to a point where I feel a little more confident to where like
you should. You should.
No.
I guarantee you they will support you. And here's why I'm going to say that. So we're gonna circle back now to the night from 1.5 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever, and then I have to go because I have to feed my man.
You gotta go already?
No, I know. Well, I can stay a little bit.
Wayne, 33 minutes in.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. It's fine. Go ahead. No, it's fine if you gotta go early.
No, he can put it in the oven. Okay. Anyway, so what I noticed that night. So I'm going to say you started in 2020. Is that when that was your first? And the group that was there 2 weeks ago was these were guys that started when you started. And I could feel the camaraderie in the room with all of you guys and the support that you were giving each other. So the vibe in the room was good. I felt like,
that's good.
Yeah. And
we almost don't notice it, but stand up, that's like, there's energy always. You can tell if it's awkward energy. You can tell if it's good. You can tell if it's really like, if people are doing really well, the laughter, you can feel that. It's cool. You can feel the vibe of the camaraderie too.
Before it ever started, before the shows ever started. Well, because, we get there early. We get to the show early and you're hanging out with your buds.
Yeah.
And
the hang is huge for stand-up.
And your first time you get up on stage and you do your first stand-up, and the ones who have done it before come out and are there for you to tell you, good job, very supportive, and then it sort of snowballs from there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, I was gonna ask, so you were going. What did you say in front of your Bible study group? I wanted to go back to that.
Oh, I told them the joke about. I'm originally from Austin, Texas, one of the hippest, coolest cities in the country. But I was not, so they asked me to leave. And then I just, I told a couple other jokes about I'd been a model. And because I was kind of tall and I was really thin from doing copious amounts of cocaine. And so
you talking about cocaine use in front of your Bible study?
Well, yeah, because it's helpful.
I like,
it's
yes.
That's again,
trust tree.
I'm what not to be. You don't want to be like this, So, so I've shared all kinds of stuff with that. So yeah, and I look back on. So of course, this friend, one of my friends there that night, came up and said, this is really funny. And I would like to support you on this. And she said, I'm going to go with you. Let's find some open mics, and I'm going to go with you the first night.
That's great. That's what I was going to ask. What got you from that night to the stage? Because that's actually, like, for people who've never tried it before, it's a big leap to go from just talking about it or carefully sharing that you want to with friends to getting to the mic that night that you tried the first time.
And now when you're thinking about it, does it just scare you to death right now, just thinking about how that felt that first night?
Kind of. Although it scares me more to wonder if that person who texted me didn't text me and I never went. The idea of never going, never having gone scares me more. Like it was so close that I didn't ever start. And by the similar token, I'm kind of mad I didn't do it way earlier. I didn't know. I didn't know there was anything, I didn't know there was like a network of people, like what the open mic call. It's a culture. Like underground kind of. Yeah. And not a lot of people know about it.
The underworld. Yeah. The open mic underworld. Yeah.
Yeah. Rory Scovel used that term to describe as like this underground, community, I guess. So yeah, if you don't know that exists, you don't really know that it's an option. So it's always easy to say.
And so when you
coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah. So I knew there were open mics, but I didn't know about the undergroundness of it.
Yeah.
And so I Googled open mics, Greenville or upstate, because I wanted to try to be close to home.
Yeah.
And I saw, Comedy Zone and went, and that's when you kind of discovered it. So you're telling yourself jokes, you're talking to you and you're thinking of jokes. When did you say, okay, this is it, I'm going to do it?
Me?
Yeah.
So, when the COVID lockdown started, my company asked me to make some funny videos, work from home type videos.
Super.
I love video editing. It was one of my favorite things to do in high school. I actually wanted to be a movie director at some point, but out of practical reasons, just did something else. So anyway, something lit up in my head and I made these videos during quarantine. So I was thinking about comedy and I was like, stand up. Like I want to try that later.
Had you ever done any performance like in plays or anything in high school or even outside of high school? Or?
No. I mean, I did a play in middle school, but I was always so afraid of what other people would think. I was so terrified of judgment. My face would turn red whenever I spoke in public. I was very insecure. But I also like was really excited about it too. And I probably have a little ego where I like attention and I like performance, like athletic achievement wise. I played football. But the moment that I decided that I wanted to get on stage was I told a joke idea to somebody and I heard them laugh on the other side of the phone. And I was like, okay, I think I could get a laugh off that. And it was all I had. The joke was horrible. The joke was horrible. It's misogynistic, I think. It was, why aren't there more women pilots?
Why?
And I said it's probably because they're not great drivers. And then the audience like hated me. And that's not even a joke.
But there's a joke that they tell. I've heard a guy say, why was Helen Keller such a bad driver?
Yeah.
Because she was a woman. I've heard that joke and I laugh at it.
Right. Well, that wasn't it. So the part that got the laugh was I wish there were more women pilots because I think 9/11 would have gone differently. Because I think if there's one thing I know about a strong, confident woman, what she's good at, it's shutting down a creepy, aggressive dude.
Oh, yeah.
And like she would shut down the terrorist.
Yeah, I see.
Because the terrorist is probably pretty desperate for women. I mean, he's blowing himself up to get 72 virgins.
Yeah.
Talk about desperate.
So
it was a dark joke, but I think the line about, the woman shutting down the terrorist, I think I told that to my friend Mariah on the phone. I heard her laugh on the other side. And that was the first time I said something and it got a laugh. And I was like, okay, I got this one thing. So if somebody ever asked me to go on stage or like, because Comedy Zone Mike hadn't started back up yet. This was like June.
Yeah.
And then I had a comedian friend, Ellen, who asked, hey, I'm going to this mic tonight. Do you want to come? And as soon as I got that text, I was at the hospital working on some sales stuff. And I was like,
but you went to watch
in my stomach. No, I went up my first night.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it was horrible.
I went the week before I was going to go, just so I could kind of see what was happening.
Yeah. I didn't even do that. I was so scared and hadn't missed a week since, basically.
Yeah. I know. And there's good nights and bad nights.
Good nights and bad nights.
Yeah.
And so that was my story.
So, yeah.
So, your first night. How did that go? Tell me about.
Well, what I have told my husband was the worst possible thing happened. They laughed at me. And because I was prepared to go up and, tell some jokes and say, well, this was my first time. Thank you. I appreciate it. And go off and know that I had tried.
Wait, so you wanted it to be a one-time bucket list thing?
I thought it might be a one-time bucket list thing.
Okay, so it went well.
Yeah, it went really well. But I look back now on that because my friend videoed it and man, I sucked. I was, my timing was very slow and it was clear that I was nervous, but let's put it in perspective. It was the first and I got some laughs.
Yeah. A lot of times that likable thing and you'll get laughs and that's great. That's all you want to do.
That's all you want. Yeah.
Just don't be a dick. Don't do what I did. Although I did get a couple of laughs off the terrorist thing.
There was don't be a dick. That's number one because I was there. Okay, so I went like 3 weeks in a row after that. And the third week, my husband travels a lot, so I had a lot of free time, and I was this empty nester, and I was like, that's how I'm going to be productive. God forbid I should actually volunteer and do some good in the world. No.
Dude, no, comedy is doing good for the world.
Because I'm making people laugh.
Yeah.
What is that? Serotonin?
That's better.
You release serotonin when you laugh.
That's better than working at a soup kitchen.
It's better
I
than
think people that work at soup kitchens are just pussies because they...
Are they making those people laugh? Hell no. Yeah. Show me what you can do.
They just work for ungrateful bums. I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh. Oh no. I am
kidding.
separating myself completely from all of that. Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
I came on here on an apology tour and now I'm going to have to go to another podcast for another apology tour.
No.
Yeah, but I like that.
I kid.
I like that kind of, where you can say these things
say horrible
to your
things.
friends, and they all have that same dark sense of humor. So,
Yes.
yeah.
I'm a bad person.
Yeah.
It's
We
okay.
are. We're so bad.
I'm not supposed to agree with that, Lane. I'm not bad. I'm just kidding.
But I got off stage and Jazz, it was, get this. It was Jazz, Jazz Gill, the Sainted and Wonderful Jazz Gill.
Yes, ma'am.
And Jarrell Williams.
Awesome. I got to have Jarrell on. That reminds me.
And I just know him as Big Daddy Cater. What's his first name? Jamal, yeah. And I'm trying to think. Tom Emmons was there. But Jazz came down and talked to me. And, I'd already seen her a couple times. 'Cause I saw her the first night that I went. And then I saw her the second time. I was like, this gal is special. This one's funny. And she encouraged me to come back.
Yeah.
And
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Jazz has said a few encouraging words to me. Not my first night, but just over the course of knowing her. Jazz doesn't even know this. I didn't tell her. But whenever I get a positive note of encouragement, I'll write it down.
That's good.
In my note, just because I struggle with self-doubt a lot, but she's somebody who very smart and competent, very funny. So when she says something, you can kind of take it.
Man, you take it.
Yeah, of course. That's nice that she did that. So she said, she thinks you have something, you definitely should come back and do it.
Yeah. And she would always, and she, whenever I'd have good sets, she'd compliment me on it. Yeah. So, and again, I'm going to circle back to that night 2 weeks ago. Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Did you feel so? Brandon got up on stage, and of course he did his thing, and he got the audience laughing. But then when he got off stage and the other comics got up, the audience seemed to stop laughing. I don't know if you remember. Did you get that?
I'm trying to remember what order I went. Was I in the middle?
No, you were first or second, because they kept referring to Matt Addy kept saying, I think it was him that said, "You're what white people think Jesus would look like."
Oh.
So Jacob was there.
Yeah, Jacob.
It was the night.
Was this last Thursday? This most recent Thursday?
2 Thursdays ago.
2 Thursdays ago? Oh, I think I remember. Did I do that dancing thing?
See, I can't remember.
Okay.
I watched every minute of it. I promise you I did. I promise.
I felt like the show got progressively rougher.
For
from
everybody?
Brandon's set on. And if I'm remembering the night right.
Yeah.
It was hard to pull laughs out of the audience.
And it was almost a full house.
Yeah. What I think could have been going on, and again, I don't even remember exactly this night, but sometimes when Brandon goes up, his set's squeaky clean, very family friendly. And then if we have edgy comics to follow, it might take the audience back of oh shit, this tone changed. You're hitting us with some unwelcome edgy material, and then it can be harder to you got to ease them into your edgy stuff. So that might have been something.
But that's happened before where Brandon has opened and then the edgier comics are up there. So, but there was still some laughs, people still got laughs. Yeah. But I was thinking, so I didn't know, but that's probably a very good reason there. And, and I was, so I felt like, okay, people aren't laughing. And so I remembered what, the wonderful Norm Macdonald said, one of his buddies, after he died, said that Norm Macdonald would do his routines and nobody would laugh. And he would just plow through these routines. He would just do it. He would laugh when he was supposed to.
Right.
He laughed when he thought it was funny, and he'd smile. And you can just see, and we're talking Norm Macdonald here.
Right.
You could just see him doing it and nobody laughing, but he did it. And
Norm said something specific about that where he said if the purpose of the night is for the comedian to tell jokes and people are supposed to laugh and they don't laugh, that is funny.
Yeah.
That's the funniest thing that could happen is they don't laugh.
So he must have just, I never thought of it that way. And he was probably having a great time with all of that.
It's just a funny situation. Like this guy's trying to make it and they're not. So like, yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. So
that's why I laugh really hard. Like people give me a hard time sometimes because I'll laugh when jokes don't do well. Like I'll wait for it to, and if the punchline doesn't work and it's clear where it was supposed to happen and it doesn't, I'll laugh because I know what. You know,
they need that support. Yeah, we need that.
I mean, you could interpret it as condescending too, because maybe I'm like, ha, you idiot. Like,
no, if it's happening to somebody
I
then
mean it to like, I don't know,
support,
and hopefully,
I don't know. Do you know?
I don't want to be condescending either, or like patronizing if it didn't work, but like.
I don't think it comes across that way. Yeah,
it sometimes makes it less awkward, you know?
Especially if the guys,
if the audience is like, "Oh, or the comic too,"
and the guys they're waiting for somebody to laugh, and Jazz would do that for me whenever I would tell a joke that didn't land or whatever, and I would hear her giggle.
Yeah,
and it was like, thank you, Jazz. Yeah. I appreciate that so much.
And it's sincere too, because we know what that feels like. Like the comic knows like what what it's like for a joke to not land. Yeah.
Well, and I was thinking too, as I was, the audience wasn't laughing. And I thought, well, okay, I'm gonna do what Norm Macdonald did, and I'm just gonna go up there and I'm gonna plow through this because this is funny. My bit is funny, and there was the comic that came on just before me too was a woman, and she wasn't from around here, and I don't know how graphic we can get with our language here.
I don't care what you say.
Okay. She was dropping F-bombs, but she was lazy about it. Okay. I'm not opposed to, the shit fucks motherfuckers going out there. If it's,
she was just using it as like throwaway words. It
wasn't like
critical to what the set was.
No. And she wasn't telling jokes. She was just kind of talking. It's almost like she didn't have a set prepared. And then she started talking about her 9-year-old daughter.
Okay.
And she referred to her 9-year-old daughter as a fucking cunt.
Sorry.
That's nervous laughter right there. That is nervous laughter.
I mean, I'm not nervous, but
yeah.
I'm laughing at how horrible it is.
It's horrible. Yeah. And I got to say that, I'm there, I'm standing and I'm getting ready to go on. It's like, come on, you've been, sitting here for a while. Let's get the blood going. And then she said this and it was like the wind just went out of me. And I'm not using it as an excuse to yell at those two young ladies who were talking through everybody's set. But it was like, oh my gosh. And then I thought, okay, all right, you're going to go up there and your set's going to be completely different because my sets are squeaky clean.
Yeah. Which is great.
Yeah. And I thought, well, I'm going to go up there. I'm going to be a completely different comic and maybe we'll get some laughs. And so, I did my 4.5 minutes before the breakdown and nobody laughed. But it was like, okay, no one's laughing at anybody else today. So I'm not taking it personally. I'm just gonna go through it. So
yeah, I think I do remember this night. Yeah, because I remember I got laughs, but it was definitely a drop off from Brandon's set, and I was doing new stuff, but I had to like milk every laugh out of it. It wasn't like the room was just like on your side and it was rolling and But
there
are those nights where it's just like, well,
and when you have a good night. The last time you're there and it's like, oh, this feels so good. This just feels like $1 million and you want to recreate it. And then the air just goes out of it. It's like, well,
makes you better.
It does. And somebody said when I was telling friends about this, they said, oh, well, you can make something funny out of it. You can work this into your routine. And I said,
bombing stories are way much more interesting than.
Well,
I had a great set. Whoa, great. Congrats. Good for you. I want to hear about the time where you ate shit. Got heckled, I want to hear about that.
Well, and we've all got those stories to tell, but so we'll see. We will see, but I'm not gonna be. I do have to go. I really do have to go.
Well, I want to ask you a couple real quick things.
Sure.
So you started stand-up. So you're 60 now.
I'm 63.
63. Okay,
Yeah,
so I didn't want to, but you did.
No, I'm proud.
Which is amazing. So you started stand up at age 60.
Mm-hmm.
So that is really commendable. I think that's really cool. And like, I mean, what would you say to anybody who's like, I don't know who's listening to this, but like who may be older and thinking like, oh, stand up be cool. Never really tried it, but you know, it's too late.
It's not too late. I think I'm living proof of that.
Right.
Yeah, because I could be funny.
Mm-hmm.
I can be funny.
Mm-hmm.
And
like, what do you get out of it?
hearing people laugh.
Yeah.
And so that was part of it. That's part of the reason. Another part was writing the funny stories to get out of depression, blah, blah, blah. So, but there is no better feeling than making people laugh. And that's what I get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to laugh.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm laughing. I'm making people laugh. And if you sit around a bunch of older people in their 60s, and think about what generation we are too,
Mm-hmm.
you know, from the 70s and the 80s. And we've seen some stuff, and we were edgy at one time too.
Yeah.
And that edginess has carried over. So I think a lot of people my age probably could do very well up on stage, because what the hell do we have to lose?
Sure.
Nothing.
Sure.
You know, we've already lost our pride.
Yeah.
We've already done things that we regret. How this is not regretful.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. If you go up and you're no good, then you tried.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a way to stay young too.
Yeah.
Because think about the majority of the comics. They're all, and if they embrace you, like I've been embraced.
Yeah.
Then
That's cool. Once you're a comic, you're like in a category. It doesn't matter, you know, age, gender, all these things. Like my dad came to a show. He was in town visiting. He saw us at Coffee Underground, and we went out to dinner after.
did he
And we
love
were all-
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he had a good time. And after the show, it was me, Chris Wilson, Jacob, Bill Reiner, Ben Jennings,
The usual suspects.
Amelia. Yeah. And I was just looking around the table, and we were all so different, like in terms of backgrounds, ages, career, totally different, random ragtag, weird,
Yes.
just lovable loser kind of vibe. Like all of us, you know, have our own dysfunctions and quirks and stuff.
Uh-huh.
It's like we never would have been a group if it wasn't for open mic stand-up comedy. So
Right.
Like,
Right.
so yeah.
And that's hard to think about that, because I love everybody I've met at open mic night.
Uh-huh.
And it's hard to think, wow, like I wouldn't have met you.
Right.
And so it's that would be a good reason
Uh-huh.
to go.
Yeah.
And there's also some people who go and have their open mics, and they don't do so well, but they respect what's going on, and they come to shows regularly. And
Yeah.
they're fun people. They
Uh-huh.
they may not enjoy being on stage, but they're fun to hang out with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It doesn't, you know, stand up. That's kind of the misconception too, is stand up has to be like on a big stage on Netflix, on TV. It's not.
It's not.
And even those big comedians, if you go see them in real life in a comedy club, like they still got to get that show going. Like it's still just human beings, a microphone,
And they
in a room.
bomb.
And
Sometimes
they do bomb.
still bomb.
Yeah.
Not on the big the arenas, because people, they're going to laugh no matter what, because a lot of times they're not doing any new stuff. They're doing the stuff that makes you laugh.
Yeah.
And so,
Although I have seen Chappelle bomb in an arena before.
for real,
I didn't see it live, but
Uh-huh.
I've seen YouTube videos of it. It's online.
oh, is that where the most recent, where he was criticized? And I can't remember.
That set actually went tremendously well in that room. I think it was criticized outside of the room, but yeah, he had one more. But yeah, anyway,
He didn't care.
the details aren't that.
He didn't care.
Yeah,
He didn't. Yeah.
no, thick skin.
Yeah.
On to the next, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool. I'm trying to get my dad to do it. My dad is 60. He goes with the year, so he's 61. He's gonna be 62.
Okay.
So yeah.
Tell him, hey, there's this older chick. There she is.
Yeah.
And just loving every minute of it. So do you think you got your sense of humor from your dad?
Yeah, probably. I mean, my dad was always impressions. He did like skits.
How funny! Yeah,
He did a great Kermit the Frog, Bert and Ernie. Like when we were kids, he'd do those voices for us when we were going to bed, puppet shows, and he did was it Jimmy Stewart impression, or Johnny Carson impression? It might have been Jimmy Stewart at this KC83. It's like some evangelical conference in front of a bunch of people, like in the front of the crowd, I guess. He talks about that all the time. So he did. So that was like a performance that he was asked to do that. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So
So what do you think? I mean, I think he's gonna do it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
He's also creative. I think he's a designer, so he designs furniture, and I think creative people have a certain bent to them. He definitely has that, and he likes to write as well.
Oh my gosh, he's ticking off all the boxes.
Yeah, he needs to do it.
Yeah,
He's got some stuff he's working on.
Yeah. Okay. And where does he lives in Michigan?
Michigan, yeah. Okay. So he'll have to check out an open mic scene up there, but we'll see.
Do you think he would do it up there, or would he come down here?
I think he would want to start up there. If he might want to do it when somebody he knows isn't there. I'm not sure. If he's like me, I wanted to do it completely anonymously.
Yeah. Yeah. But well, we're backtracking, but yeah, I enjoyed having somebody there to support me.
Okay.
Yeah. And all you had to do was walk to your apartment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have had to get in the car and drive home by myself.
Sure.
to Central and
I walk from here. So
yeah. So yeah.
So you got to go.
I got to go. I'm sorry.
Well, no, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. We talked for an hour. That was good.
Yeah.
So, what do you have going on comedy wise? You want to shout out any of your social medias or?
So Lane Wilson Comic, and because I'm a boomer, I don't know how to do these things. I have 2 YouTube channels.
2 YouTube channels?
Yes, and they're both Lane Wilson Comic.
Why do you have 2?
Well, I think because I don't post enough. I don't have enough tapes enough. Or videos enough. So I've got one that's got a picture of me, and then there's one that's just Lane Wilson Comic that was from both. Yeah. So yeah, just look at both of them. And comedian Lane Wilson is on Facebook, and I'm probably not going to be doing too much next week. Well, we're getting into spring break where my husband and I are going someplace. And then in May and June until July 15th, we're going to be in Belgium and Portugal for work, for his work. And so we still have, we got time. 2 years ago before the pandemic hit, on March 5th, we were supposed to go to Europe for his work.
Okay.
We were going to spend 6 weeks in Belgium and 6 weeks in Italy.
Okay.
Specifically. Doesn't suck.
No, that's amazing.
And then this pandemic bullshit happens. And I had my summer suitcase packed and we found out, so that we were going to leave on a Thursday, and on a Sunday, it was like, oh shit, things are not looking good.
Yeah.
And then on the 4th, Clemson University said, nope, nobody's going anywhere.
Oh my God.
We were like, well, this thing is all made up anyway. It's not a real disease. And then pretty soon, oh no, it's a real disease. And then second of all, if we had gotten there, everything shut down.
Yeah, you might have gotten stuck.
Yeah. Yeah, we would have been stuck. Yeah. And he would have, the university closed down. What are we going to do?
Right.
Yeah.
So this is that trip.
Yeah. Right. He's able to do that again.
I just hope the Russians haven't gotten that far over.
I know. Damn it. Damn Russians. Putting the kibosh.
This is such an insane time.
Yeah. But trust me, I'm 63 years old. There have been other insane times. We thought end times was 1968.
Really? Okay. Yeah. And that was what? Cuban Missile Crisis?
No, that was 62. That was another end time. 1968, Martin Luther King gets killed, Jr. Bobby Kennedy gets killed. The Chicago riots. There was just craziness happening everywhere. Yeah. And there were a lot of in the United States, there were a lot of riots and such going on. So it seemed like the end times. So I've lived through several end times, and I'm here to talk about it. So, but still, we could pray for Ukraine, and I hope it does, everything does.
This is helpful to me to not panic. It would be trippy to picture being back then and seeing all those assassinations. And
yeah. Don't panic. Don't panic.
Don't panic.
I'll leave on that positive note.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Your story's inspiring. It's great. Very good.
If I can do it, anybody can.
Absolutely. Me too. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming.
Okay.
Thanks for listening, everybody.